fans cover their faces. Historically in StarCraft, it was because they were skipping school to be at the tournaments.
Yeah.
But now, not entirely sure what it is.
Maybe it's the same thing.
Oh, school's still running right now? It's a Saturday. You know what? I do know that Korean high schools can run till like 10 p.m. It is quite scary.
True, but as you mentioned, probably not in the off season, kind of on a Saturday on a weekend. But yeah, you'd have to imagine just a bit of embarrassment being on the big screen as well has to play a bit into it.
And here we go now. Zoe banned away by Genji and Jinair. They've banned away the Sylas.
They're like, can you play anything else, Roach? Let's test him here.
And another target ban at Genji with the Gragas focused at life. And now LeBlanc banned away. And Genji, they are on the red side. Although with the LeBlanc ban, I don't assume that they're expecting to play Lissandra. Obviously, Roach was also playing Jace in solo queue. See if he has anything else. I mean, Lissandra, not the most difficult champion to pick up. Typically, you would expect to see it on red team more so than blue. And there's the Vladimir. Ezreal and Lucian are both open right now. Pick your poison.
If it's me, I go Ezreal.
You like Ezreal?
Yeah.
What's wrong with Lucian?
There's nothing wrong. It's just he's more of like a lane bully rather than like this ultimate, mid-game and late-game champion.
Oh, and here we go.
And you're giving Ezreal to Ruler, which is the big one.
So Ezreal and Lucian have both made it through. But first, it looks like Genji want to get their hands on Urgot. And now they're just going to actually take the Tahm Kench. They say, hey, you already picked your ADC. We're going to pick Ezreal next rotation, and instead we're going to get two bigger priority picks. Now, the real meta play is, do you take the Ezreal and put Lucian mid lane?
Yeah.
Or top lane?
Genji's daring them.
You're not going to do that. Yeah.
For sure, they're daring them.
That's a very slippery matchup, actually. Top Lucian versus Urgot. Yep.
Yeah.
Not something I would expect to see by any means, though. As Jinair not electing to go that way, they're going for Lane Kingdom with the Lucian and the Thresh. And they take the Aatrox instead of a Jace. And if you do have the Jace, it does provide you with more options later in the game against the Ezreal. So, very surprising there.
And as expected, kind of goes without saying, Ezreal is snatched up before it can be banned in the second phase. And already you look at the comp and you're like, well, Cuvée can play Urgot, Roach can play Urgot, and Ruler and poor JJ were very well known for playing Ezreal Tahm Kench. I'm sure Life, he exactly knows how to play Tahm Kench as well. So, like, you're giving away this god-tier bottom lane for, the players that love to play it. It's definitely an interesting one.
There's massive amounts of physical damage on the side of Jinair, and so the Ryze being ran away makes perfect sense. I guess a Victor could be accompanying here.
Or a Lulu.
Lulu's very interesting because Lulu is typically seen just with the protect the ADC type of team compositions. That's not what you would expect with a Lucian. And with the long range of Ezreal being there, doesn't seem like Lulu would be the most threatening pick. So Syndra still on the table, as well as Victor. Now Jace banned away, but that would mean that you would need a really heavy-hitting magic damage jungler, which I suppose Peanut could probably play at least. I mean, I would suggest a jungler, but everyone already knows that he's terrible, so...
I saw a smirk, and I'm like, no way. He's going to pick my big man Karthus, but no, it's not going to happen. He's going to play Olaf again. He's like, yeah, I had a pretty good game on that one in game one. Might as well just give it to him again.
Now Jinair have to show their hand face up. They need a massive amount of magic damage from some source, because if Ezreal just gets to go Iceborne Gauntlet, everyone on that team just starts stacking Ninja Tab Eyes. I just don't know what you're going to do.
Okay,
They're picking a Yorick, but Genji has Tahm Kench available to stop split push attempts in the later stages of the game, and Ezreal takes teleport as well, then gets even more difficult. Ahri.
This will make things interesting. But I can't help but feel it's Kellen coming in as this. Oh, okay. I'll hold my tongue as they're actually going to play the Ahri. It's happening here at the LCK.
And now, if you're Gen G, what is going to be the mage of choice for Roach? And what has he really practiced thus far? Kennen.
Okay.
I feel like I am taking a blast from the plat. Okay, it's going to be Kennen top lane, I think, and Urgot mid lane.
Yeah.
And this is some of the flexibility that we would expect to see happen when you have two top laners in the game.
Might as well. I mean, Roach, definitely very well known for playing as Urgot. It's one of his most played, and it's well played in the mid lane as well. You can see what the mid lane is first, and then just say, okay, do we want to have the Urgot go there or go up against what their top lane is, and then decide, you know, what will be the best final pick on the red side.
Well, we're going to talk about what both team compositions want to do in just a second here when we get those lovely graphics coming up on the screen.
Yeah.
Absolute S+. As the coaches walk off stage. I think they get a little bit longer here than CK, but nonetheless, Yorick, Aatrox, Ahri, Lucian, and Thresh, they do have the split push component of Yorick in the later stages of the game, but obviously looking to make pseudo picks with the Thresh and the Ahri in the mid game and just accelerate and try to do lane kingdom across the board is the main goal of this Gen Air, which is a very different type of comp that you would expect out of them. So we'll see how it works out. Very interesting play. And on the flip side for Gen G, a much more slower paced team composition that they want to get to their armor items. They want to get to second and third core itemization, at which point it becomes very, very difficult for Gen Air Green Wings to really take over against them. I've never seen the Kennen versus Yorick matchup, so don't really know what to say about it, but we'll see what ends up happening in the game.
We'll have to wait and see how it all goes down here as game number 2 is loading up. Gen Air up against Gen G starts now. Here we go. As you said it before, Gen Air, definitely a very interesting comp, especially once you see all of those lanes trying to dominate, and Ahri as well on the Rift. You got your Ignite, you got your Electrocute, and you try to go for those assassinations, but when you're playing up against Urgot, and you're playing up against essentially a brick wall, you are going to have a bit harder of a time. And has not gone Glacial Augment, so no kind of weird slowing Ahri with those other builds. Maybe just straight on for the, just standard damage Ahri here.
Well, it's going to be very hard pressed to make anything happen early on. It's an interesting leash. And a very interesting start by Malrong here, starting the Wolf camp. He will also get the level up. Wow.
Hey, they are not wasting any time here as double flash
so
from
what
Root and Kellen.
Really like about this is they say, you know what, we're going to start this laning phase. No one's going to have flashes. Lucian has his E, and Ezreal has his E, which is the Arcane Shift. But this means that Death Sentence really is a Death Sentence.
Yeah. As second level 2 is hit here, and by the way, should go the way of Root and Kellen, absolutely, as they do have to push on. Life has to be extremely careful. He's level 1 with, I think, Tongue Lash, and just kind of chilling and can't stand up to Lane Kingdom. That is Lucian Thresh.
And look at what Malrong's doing. He's saying, hey guys, you have a lot of priority, let me help you out. He does the Wolf into Wraith Camp, converts it into a Scuttle Crab capture, and says, hey Peanut, good luck trying to help your bottom lane out. They're under a lot of pressure. Now right here, if they can crash, oh man.
Oh, they got that hook into the play. Thankfully, Life also hit level 2, so he is going to have Devour. But it's just the chip damage. I mean, look at Root and Kellen. They're not losing anything to do this. I mean, they lost their flashes, but that's what got this whole snowball going.
This is fantastic play thus far. Teleport now onto the backmost minion. A plate already down at 3 minutes.
Yeah.
This is not the type of play that we would expect out of Jin Air.
But, you know, it's interesting, too, especially because it's Root and Kellen, right? These guys get play because they're solo queue gods, and they're really high up on the ladder. So you would expect guys like that to do crazy stuff like this. It's not exactly standard for pro play.
Everyone's getting tongue-tied today.
I know. I don't know why. Must be all the Tom Kents, but, I mean, you just essentially assert your dominance and say, this is our lane. And that's something you can do in solo queue, especially when you're duoing a lot together.
And this is the stuff also that I'm talking about with Malrong. There's absolutely zero reason for him to coin flick this bottom approach on the Aatrox here. He needs Ruler and Life to make mistakes in order for this to work, and his bottom lane didn't do the best of jobs of trying to manipulate the lane state to make this even more favorable. And he does this type of stuff all the time. He's going to path to his left-hand side jungle now. Everything's going to be gone, and now Gen G, they're going to spot him out on that perfect ward. And now Gen G's playing with map packs again. Must be nice.
Must be nice to run like God. If you can see everything, that's certainly the way it feels. As finally, Ruler and Life able to come back in this one. You'll notice that Ruler did take teleport in this game. And so that allows him to sustain a bunch of that damage at, you know, level 1, level 2. Even level 3, but then he goes home, picks up some sustain, and says, okay, I'm back in the lane. I didn't lose all too much. He's not that far down on the minions and can just continue in this lane.
And Lucian does have the teleport available, and he's up 10 CS right now. Ezreal recalling as well, so there's going to be a mutual reset, mutually agreed upon. And I wonder if he ends up committing his teleport. He does. So it does look like he's trying to get this wave to crash immediately so that the next 3 waves can come back into him while both parties don't have teleport available.
Yeah, maybe trying to push on to a second plating in the bottom side if he had his support. But currently support in jungle, Kellen and Malrong saying, hey, we're buddies now. And if Grace hit level 6, I said before, you know, one-on-one Ahri, can she do much up against a Urgot with Merc Treads this early on? Maybe not, but if you've got a Aatrox and a Thresh to be there with you, then maybe then you can get something going.
Right now, lane was just coming into Lucian, but instead, Root elects to do a really hard trade onto Ruler. And he's going to keep pushing. Not showing any intention of trying to do any sort of freeze and deny XP. So Flash is going to be available for everyone again in just a second here as Root and Kellen look to chip away at this second plate. And so far, the Lucian Thresh bottom lane has been doing quite a bit of work.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable what they have been able to do. You know, Jin Air, we were talking about it in the beginning of this cast. We were saying, we were talking about Stitch actually, and we were saying how, you know, you're down to 9 series loss in a row. You should change something up, and this is a welcome change, I'm sure, for a lot of the Jin Air fans to just have them go insanely aggressive in the bot lane and just throw caution to the wind and say, hey, if it doesn't work, at least we tried, right? Maybe we just lose with a standard thing that we were normally going to do before, but instead, maybe we lose like this. Maybe they'll feel better about that, as Root and Kellen helping out with Malrong on that Cloud Drake will be able to pick it up, actually. Back away.
Next Drake of the game will be an open Drake. So, at the 13-minute mark, not going to be the most beneficial, and let's point out something happening in the mid lane right now. Grace elected for Sorc penetration boots on Ahri without having a blue buff to sustain it, and so in doing so, normally when you go for this kind of an itemization, you have to get a lot of pressure or actually set up kill opportunity. If you don't, the enemy can just attack your mana pool because you don't have the lost chapter or a tier or something of sorts to sustain you, and things can end up looking very ugly. And so now Urgot coming back into mid lane here. I do believe Roach has the blue buff. And what do you do now if you're Grace? You're popping another corrupting potion, and
you might just die as well. Tries to ult away. Doesn't look like the tick damage will get low enough, but that's ult down, that's flash down in the trade for Roach's flash as he gains dominance in the lane.
Now Peanut trying to wrap around, utilizing this mid pressure and priority because Grace is unable to help with anything. Peanut's going to convert this into 2 camps, which is basically a kill when you factor in the gold that he gets and the XP. 2 level gap again. This guy can't even spell levels.
I wonder if he'll get the MVP this game around.
Definitely not.
I mean, if he didn't get it for game 1, how do you get it for game 2? How do you do better than that? I don't know. As Malrong will be able to smite that one away and gains level 6, so will lose any pressure in the jungle, will Peanut.
Well, bottom lane is up 18 CS right now, roughly. Although there is a bit of minions coming into Ruler. So he just has to hold on a little bit longer. Teleport is available to him where the same cannot.
You okay over there, Alice?
I'm okay. You know what's not okay, though? Grace's mana pool.
Yeah.
In mid lane.
For you guys who are wondering.
I'm assuming that blue buff did take it. Or red buff took it.
It must have been. I mean, Aatrox has blue. Why does Aatrox have blue?
Well, the observer is pointing it out, so things are happening in this game. Oh. Huh?
Well, okay. That play is going to go wide. It
Whoa.
might still be a kill. It does force the flash away from life after all, even though the play does go wide. So continuing their pressure and up 20 CS in the bottom lane are Root and Kellen.
And meanwhile, Peanut looking to solo this Herald. Malrong is down here in bottom lane. He has caught up in XP. I'm sure that the blue buff definitely helped with that. And they're going to try to convert this into some turret plates. And that did not hit all that many minions. So a lot of pressure coming down here in bottom. Now, oh, look at Grace on the minimap. He located a Peanut.
Oh, boy. Well, there is a smite here, and it is Olaf, so with Kive coming down, he's not going to be able to deny that one, so at least Peanut is able to do something on the other side as another Devour does come in. And look at this, immediately using it. This is what we like to see. Good job, Peanut. Looking for some plates and pressure in the top side. Not going to be able to win the race of the turret, though.
Yeah, they're looking for the first blood turret anyway, or the first brick, as they managed to get that down in bottom. And so, Gen G, they're still ahead in gold.
Yeah, they're about to get a turret too, so hold your horses. How about 700 gold? Your team.
1.2k gold lead right now for Gen G, despite everything that happened in bottom lane, and obviously something contributing to this is Ezreal's Kleptomancy.
Yeah.
And the top lane CS deficit, as well as the jungle deficit yet again.
Yep, and, you know, Grace went blasting one because he probably only had enough to pick that up. Lost chapter. Yep. Pretty expensive. Would have loved a blue buff right now, but instead he's got to give up pressure and go for a back that might even be interrupted by Roach.
Root returns into bottom lane off the back of a teleport. And he's trying to just continuously push. And the only thing I'm assuming is that he teleports down here because Jin Air wants to try to prioritize the Ocean Drake. Here at 12 minutes and 12 seconds.
The ATP comes in. They're really trying to force this one as it is life down into the bottom side alongside Ruler, alongside Kive, or maybe, yeah, Roach is also here. Everybody's TPing in. Genji say, in a motion of dominance, this is our Ocean Drake. Get the hell away from here.
Jin Air, they're looking. Oh, that was a really
close one. As in goes Root over the wall. That one will go the way of Gen G as Grace not able to land that charm, and it looks like Gen G gonna be satisfied to use, what was that? 4 TPs. 4 TPs to secure the Ocean Drake.
And now Gen G, 1.3k gold lead. They have relatively good lane states right now for themselves. Top lane, you can see that massive wave coming back into Gen G. Looks like Yorick is making his way up there. And now this is where we enter into the lull state, unless Cube has something to say about it.
Trying to make it interesting, but Ahri, as we all know, very slippery.
Do you remember? I just thought about him because seeing Kennen in the do you remember what was the name of the Kennen one trick back in season 1 or 2? We're going way back into the past.
I do not know.
I think it's like Ego. Ego. Can't remember his name. But anyway, if he was still around, I'm sure he'd be very happy to know that Kennen is doing superb against Yorick here in the Jin Air vs Gen G game 2.
Yeah. The only time you really get caught is if you use your Lightning Rush, and then you get hit by the cage of Yorick. But if that doesn't hit, then it's Kennen in a lane up against a melee. So you can do some wonderful things.
Lightning Rush, I'm sure, makes it extremely difficult to try to hit the wall. And Linderong, he is
Please not
almost
again.
at Fade. Not again.
You see how safe Malrong's being, too? It's like 500 health. He's like, I'm not going to hit it even one more time.
Captain careful. Still just maintaining that 1.2k gold lead, roughly, is Gen G. And look at the itemization now out of them. And you can see the Ninja Tabby on the Olaf. Likely will end up on the Tahm Kench and the Ezreal as well. Interesting that Kennen elected not to go that route, instead just going for full-on AP and magic damage. And Peanut finds himself in mid lane. And if you ever want an example of how powerful rubber banding can be in the jungle, let it be known that the junglers are now even level.
That they are.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Malrong down 6 camps, but
now Tahm is here, so they have to be very careful.
Waiting on this one, taking a long time to go on that, and they just give up. They say, no, actually, you can live.
Well, the thing about this is that if you dive the Kennen underneath the turret, he has the flash, he has his R available too.
Yeah.
And Tahm Kench, if he brings Ezreal to the party, you're going to lose everything. So right now you can see Peanut maybe wants to try to do something here with Roach, but instead just going to get a lot of chip damage on the turret.
Yeah, it was probably a good idea in the end. I mean, at least they're looking for opportunities, right? This is more than we could have said about Jin Air before. Whenever you got a team that's really down in the dumps and struggling, you always got to take the small victories, you know? Did they improve on the last time? Did they do something, even a little thing, better than the last game that we saw them? And I mean, looking for opportunities and being proactive in the mid-game instead of just sitting back and essentially giving up and not looking for opportunities. It's definitely a welcome sight for Jin Air fans.
Gen G, right now, again, they're still just content to keep sitting back and waiting. The Mountain Drake, however, coming up in 50 seconds, should be a pretty high priority for both of the teams. Obviously, the Yorick would love it for a split pushing with his Maiden. And then Gen G, with that, I mean, it would certainly help with trying to capture the Baron. And if they could roll a second one to sort of re-amplify the Ocean Drake, as it's not really going to be doing all that much unless they do secure themselves a Baron buff.
Root getting in there knows he always has his buddy Kellen right behind him. As both teams gear up for this Mountain Drake, as you were talking about, we'll see if Gen G can just kind of scoop it up or if Jin Air will put up a fight. They have Yorick here. Both he, Linderong, and Grace here are going to be level 12. Pibe, though, still with his flash available, could look for that big Kennen play.
And right now, 18 minutes, the Baron's not up, but it really does feel like if a fight breaks out right now, if either side wins decisively, the whole game will just flip completely on its head. Because Gen G needs to keep this game as stable and controlled as possible. And if the angle for the fight would end up being bad, it's okay for them to just surrender the Mountain Drake, because the poke from the Ezreal and the angles that Cube can get on the Kennen at Barons later on, it doesn't really mean that much, as Jinner doesn't have a real way to try to push the mid-tier 1.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get an angle here, but as you can see, Ruler just comes right back, throws a couple axes. Even Life still has some minion dematerializers, which you may feel isn't too big of a deal, but certainly helps out in this situation where you're trying to stop a push. And they see Jinair back away, and that is the cue for Peanut to go on in there with all this vision denied and say, okay, Mountain Drake is ours.
That's interestingly a weird way to get a big win. Just a lot of posturing and nothing really happening. Linderong heads back up into top lane.
Okay, is this the time that Grace actually dies, as the flash is in from Cube, but it's still not enough to kill an Ahri.
Oh, but it might be.
Oh,
Peanut.
Here we go, Predator. And this time around, he can just hold through it, but did have that passive pop up for Grace. He gets a bunch of his health back, and just no point in trying to force that one, as you mentioned. Just keep it controlled. They always try to go for this Ahri, as Grace is really the only one that's pushing up too far ahead. But hasn't worked out yet, as nobody has died in this game, and we're nearing the 20-minute mark.
Well, this is an extremely action-packed game. It's just so neck and neck. That's exactly why the game state is the way that it is. I mean, we have a Cloud Drake coming up next, so that Jinair can just go a little bit faster. How else do you get off of the runway, Brendan?
You need a bit of wind, right?
You do.
You need to generate force.
Yep.
By having some wind under your wings.
All right.
If that didn't happen, I mean, how could planes even work?
I don't know. Maybe you can tell me the route. No? Not gonna grace me with that one?
No.
It's all right. You're just killing me.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, haven't heard that one before.
Yeah. It's the end of my life as I know it.
Yeah.
Well.
3.5 minutes until we can get some more lift underneath this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
No one's named lift, though. That's
no one is named Lift.
big miss.
You know what they serve on airplanes, though? Peanuts. They do provide those.
They do. Giving the big thumbs up for that one as the push comes in from the side of Jinair. Okay, we get a bit of damage coming out here from Grace, but Urgot wants to say no. Ruler also getting in there. Didn't look like the Fear Beyond Death. Didn't look like he had an angle to zip that one in and potentially take out Grace.
Oh, that's a lot of damage coming out of Ruler on the Ezreal.
Yeah.
Almost a 3,000 gold lead here for Gen G. That was definitely looking like a close call just now. Both teams are just posturing so much. You can see Cube maybe looking for some sort of a flank. The longer that this game goes, though, the better it's going to end up getting for Gen G. 2 minutes and 20 seconds until the Clown Drake comes up. Which, if you do get 2 of them, it can actually be quite a nice feeling when you run around the map with 2 of them.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I do like that feeling.
Been on a, you know, I recently overcame my fear of flying.
Really?
Yeah, I never had it. Originally, I loved airplanes. And I used to fall asleep so easily on them because of the brown noise.
Yeah.
Just listening to the engine and
Sure.
whatever else. But during my time on Gravity, when I was flying Seoul to LAX every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I had extreme turbulence, and I thought that was it. And I had it ever since then, up until about a month ago. Just
Yeah.
went away. Really nice. Now planes are peaceful again.
Yeah. Just like this game.
Do you know what plane I was on? A Jinair plane, actually.
Oh, man.
My flight to Hong Kong. So Jinair.
The good one that you're saying. The one that helped you overcome your fear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
now you face your fear every time Jin Air hits the rift. As I had one of those as well. I was flying into kind of Beats actually for IEM, and they were saying the winds were so strong that we may have to abort the landing halfway through. So we're going down, and the plane is like up and down, and they all of a sudden the engines just boom, and we're like, what the hell is going on? They had to like take off essentially from the air. As Linderong is in a lot of trouble. No escape for this Yorick. As, well, he's still on the run, actually. The cage goes down. Jin Air going to look for some other opportunities on the map. As this does come in, they're going to tank up a little bit, try to do a little bit of damage to that, as still Linderong lives.
Whoa. Actually got the flash on a Ruler.
Yeah, first blood comes in. 2350 finally happens in this game.
And in doing so, I would almost actually say that ends up being a victory. Getting the flash away from Ezreal. This does mean that a death sentence if Tom Kench is not in Is that a Pokeball?
Yeah.
That looks like a Pokemon Stadium thing.
Yeah, it does.
I just realized that.
No, it's a target LS.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Don't want to get into any copyright trouble, as after that one, you know, they get the flash out of Ruler, but still, I mean, you get a turret in the bottom side. Bit of extra gold. They deny the double cloud away from Jin Air, as it does go the way of Tenji.
Ruler just trying to go toe-to-toe with Root. Battle of the R-ADCs right now in here mid lane, but Root doesn't actually have any mana available. I think he's just staying on this last wave to try to get the teleport. See, it's about to come right back up again, 9 seconds. Certainly just going to be his last wave before he recalls, teleports back into mid lane, and we are going to continue this song and a dance.
You mean the lull state?
The lull state, yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay, all wrong, small win. Takes that away from an Ezreal at this point in the game, who is on 3 items looking for Seraphs. And could be doing a nice amount of poke damage. I like that.
Can you tell me what the script says for when they're going to fight?
Hold on, let me look through that.
All right.
It's looking like 32 minutes should be the big Baron fight, is what I'm looking at.
All right, excellent, thank you.
Maybe some skirmishes before that, but that's the big one, around 32.
Okay, all right. It's really weird, my paper says 29.
Wow.
31. So we'll have to see what ends up transpiring until then. As the game continues to just be bounced back and forth. Have you ever bounced a ball back and forth?
Yeah, you know, me and Papa were talking about hockey halfway through some of the series. But a good way to train your hand-eye coordination is get one of those bouncy balls and just hit it up against a wall. You know, catch it, throw it. You can even slap it, you know. It can be a tennis ball, but a smaller one is better.
Okay. It's
better for handling. And, you know, your hand-eye coordination. So, definitely a fan of that. If you're, you know, you want to do that. But we got a lot of damage coming out from essentially just Ezreal and Kennen. As the poke comes down and Jin Air could barely even stay underneath their own turret. This ward is going to be very suspicious, as immediately Gen G are going to start this up. But take a look at Cuvée. He's the big one. He's got that angle.
Cuvée has created his own flank just by walking.
Well, Linderong did find him, so we got a one-on-one there. As Cuvé's taking a hell of a lot of damage. Roach trying to zone them out here in the river. There goes down the Baron. And now Jin Air fighting up against a team with Baron. Nice little snipe by Roach, but will he survive? No. Down he will go as Jin Air able to snipe him away. The one kill onto the Thresh from the side of Gen G is going to be the only trade, but they also, of course, do pick up that Baron.
And the Baron's the really big victory, because if you look at Jin Air's team composition, just look at how slow Lucian actually handles these Baron-enhanced minions. We're going to take a look at it one more time. You can see Malrong, he ends up getting locked up by Roach, and Roach is telling them, you know what, you guys handle that Baron, I'll handle them. And with the Stone Plate, he's able to eat so much attention and aggro from the Jin Air team composition. And meanwhile, through all of this, Yorick was chasing Kennen all the way up in top lane before rejoining the fray.
Yeah. And the Ahri finally did something in this one. Good charm to actually deny any fear beyond death potential and also to get the kill there onto Roach over at that blue buff. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do much else afterwards, as he was kind of the only one left alone with full health there. So we'll see though now, as he is up to 2 items, if they can stop this Baron push. Still 2 minutes on this one, as Ruler continues to get insanely strong with 2 kills.
Now, turrets are definitely going to begin to fall, and the gold gap will continue to widen.
Ooh!
That's
that's Ezreal for you, and that's Ruler. Looking for the Sniperino now. He doesn't get root, but he gets a really big chunk onto both Kellen and Malrong, it looks like there.
Oh. Peanut, with the Baron minions, managing to tell Yorick he cannot really do anything, as the Maiden not finding the most success here.
Smited the Maiden even before. As Kellen's like, hey, let's go kill the Olaf. Wait, I forgot about Ragnarok. Peanut doesn't care, as his team is just pushing down mid lane. Take a look at Cube, perfect timing on this wave coming on in. Nice macro to finish off this one for Gen G as they look for their second inhibitor in the top lane.
And Peanut, meanwhile, down in bottom lane, making good work of that turret. Looks like the cannon will get it. One more volley. Oh.
Okay, there you go. Goes down. As Ruler, there's just nobody that can contest this guy now. Grace not able to get in there quick enough. They have Tom Kent's right behind them. Wasn't a very good idea to give Ezreal Tom Kent's to the side of Ruler and Gen G, as they're looking for the snipe on route. Doesn't come in, but Gen G just say, hey, maybe we can end this game right now. They're looking for it, but the hook does come through on a Peanut. Doesn't look like the Devour will happen, as in goes Cube. Gonna do a nice amount of damage. They get the 2 kills, and it looks like that's gonna be it, guys. Jin Air, unfortunately, going to beat another 0-2 tonight, as Gen G this time make it look much cleaner up against Jin Air in the second round. Will take the 2-0 to victory.
And wasn't really all that much of a surprise when Griffin had already sealed their fate earlier on in the week, because if Griffin wins, Jin Air can't win.
That's true.
Can't break the balance of life. Balance of nature must be maintained, you know, so. Right here, Genji managed to pick themselves up a win as Jin Air continue their descent. Probably not onto a runway, but maybe an ocean or something. I'm not quite sure where they're going. But this is not looking very good. As the split continues to progress, normally you would expect that they would try new things, or that they would be more reckless and not just continue to regress almost with team play and coordination. And I really did like what Kellen and Root were trying to do that game on the Lucian and the Thresh.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it just doesn't really seem like there's that much going on for activity, and the game just evolved into an extremely stale state.
As nothing but exasperation on the faces of everybody on the Jin Air team. As, I mean, we were already kind of talking about it before, but they're getting just one step closer to relegation and having to face off against some of those challenger teams that are making their way up. We'll see if they know to ban Karthus up against BBQ, if you guys do make it, but of course that is a long way away. We'll see if maybe Jin Air can turn this flight upside down and start going in the upwards direction and taking some wins. At least a game win once again would be nice for them. Definitely a hard team to talk about, but Gen G, some good feels for them. They bring in Roach. He puts on a pretty good performance actually in the mid lane. Goes even on the Silas, gets a kill on the dive with Peanut up in the top side, and then looks good on Urgot, as he should. You know, he's a top laner, so he's got to learn how to play Urgot. And Urgot can play in essentially any solo lane, so did that well. And good feels for sure, as Peanut was not really matched, you could say, in the jungle.
Yeah, and the other thing that Gen G have to feel comfortable about is that they found success, like you just said. Roach came into the mid lane, and this is something that we talked about a lot earlier on in the cast, that the longer League starts to exist, it seems like more teams are starting to experiment with putting, hey, can you just go into this lane and play these champions and then see what you offer? And it's interesting to see a team like Gen G utilizing it. And today, they might not have had the most explosive or creative wins, but they didn't really do anything all that bad either. Peanut farmed his jungle. He got 2 level leads in both of the games, and Ruler showed up really big on the Ezreal in game number 2.
Yeah, it was definitely all the positives you would expect from Gen G when you just look at their roster even before spring. It's like Ruler's supposed to, or Peanut's supposed to be dominating the jungle. Ruler's supposed to be dominating the bot lane even if he gets behind. So good feels there. They're trying out new stuff with their solo laners. It's definitely one of their soft points for the first round.
It just hit me why Fly didn't play today.
Why not?
Janair might have been able to fly.
There you go.
There we go.
It was all in the names.
It was all, that's what they were trying to do. Dahl just made it. So here's the highlights. That was getting Ruler's flash. Hashtag worth it, I guess. But didn't really matter. Roach knew what his job was right here. Tahm Kench standing as close by as he could. Maybe trying to hope to get a Devour onto Roach. Kirby on death hit Kellen. He went immediately into a comatose state right there. Remains invulnerable for a short while. And it just didn't really matter. After the Baron was captured, neither team composition actually fares very well off against Baron. And you know, some people might be thinking to themselves, well, are there actually ever team comps that can resist Baron? And yes, there is. There's team compositions that have multiple wave clear champions that are very good at hitting and breaking through minions or threatening to just dive you through your Baron buff. But in this case, it was a slow and steady win for Gen G, with Ruler dealing massive amounts of damage, more than the rest of his team combined. So, quite good for him.
Yeah, certainly a good feel. As Tahm Kench, I mean, life didn't really have to do much in this game. He got dominated early on by Lucian and Thresh, and then just sat back and devoured. That was exactly what Tahm Kench does some of the times, not really trading too much up against that duo. So sit back, let Ruler and Peanut do the carrying, and that's exactly what happened in this game. So not too much else to talk about on that one. Kind of went the way we were expecting. Gen G able to pick up another win here, and it's just, for Gen G fans, they want to hope that it's not just up against Janair and the other team that they beat this time. They want to get more and more wins, as actually Roach in the mid lane will pick up this MVP.
Yeah, I do think he did quite a good job against the Ahri. He really neutralized her. And there was also the attempted solo kill and locking her into the lane. But I do have to say that I am very surprised. This was a game I'm thinking, okay, I guess Ruler does get it. He did a lot of chip damage, a lot of poke damage, but Roach got it, so...
Trying to, like, find out what the algorithm is in these guys' minds when they think about talking about MVPs and voting. But either way, I'm going to hand it over to G, so we can talk about that later.
Thank you very much, guys. This was the interview translation, and we're going to be joined by Ruler, Roach from Gen G. You guys stopped the losing streak. How do you guys feel? After the 4 games losing streak, this is the first victory for the second round, so I'm really happy. What about you, Ruler? We could have done better, but we could not. So I think it's a big relief that we got 2-0 victory today. Today, Roach, you were the starting mid laner. It was a very unexpected strategy. What kind of process did your team go through to reach this conclusion? Well, I'm not even sure that whether this is going to last for a long term or just for today. But, well, we were thinking that I was in a quite good form, and you know there are a lot of champions that can flex pick between mid and top lane, so that's why I kind of played as a mid laner today. then was the coaching staff decision? Well, yeah, they were also offering me to play as a mid laner, but I also thought that during playing solo queues, I thought, yeah, it could be viable if I play on mid lane. And today, you guys banned out a lot of champions on mid lane. Why was that? Well, we were focusing on champions that the opponents are good at. And Ruler, this was your first Kalista of the spring split. Why was that?
요새 좀 나쁘지 않 좋다는 소리가 좀 많아서
a lot of people have been saying that Kalista is really a good champion currently, so that's why we played it today.
사실
Was that a good champion against Kaisa? Were you confident?
빡세긴 했는데
it was a bit hard, you know, but all the other players in my team did so well for me to kind of earn time and do well in the late game. Game 1, Grace played Lulu in mid lane, but he actually didn't go for Ardent Sensor, rather he just went with damage items. Well, if you go Ardent Sensor, it's really hard to play in lanes and also in the side lanes, so I think he had to just go for the damage items. I understand him. And Ruler, you had some hard times, you know, being ganked a lot, but how were you able to turn the game around?
정글이 끝났다고 이제 이야기해서 편하게 했었던 것 같고
well, but the jungler said he's farming well, so I wasn't really worried, and we had a lot of vision priorities, so it wasn't really that hard for me. And a lot of players were performing so well, so would you like to pick another MVP for Game 1? To be honest, for Game 1, I expected the jungler or maybe other laners to be the MVP, so I was a bit surprised. I actually expected to be MVP for Game 2, so I was a bit frustrated, but for the Game 1, I think definitely Peanut did the best. Moving on to Game 2, you guys opened Lucian. Fans could have been worried about that. I have practiced a lot about this Ezreal versus Lucian matchup, and I'm quite good at it. So that was our coaching staff's decision, but I did poorly in the laning phase. But in the end, I think we kind of were able to close out the game. And Ari showed up in mid lane today. It has been a while. How was facing up against that? Yeah, it has been a while for me as well to face up against. But you know, Urgot is OP, you know, so it was not hard for me to play against. And I have this question for you. There was 4 TP situation near the Dragon Pits. What was going on over there? I'm really sorry for Cube, but we did have some miscommunication over there. Well, as a top laner, I can say that wasn't the best teleport, but eventually, also the opponent players used out their TP as well, so it wasn't that bad. So, can we expect some more upswing from Genji? I mean, it has to be better. We have been going through some very low time, very downfalls a lot, so I hope that we can do better from now on. And I heard Fly's birthday is coming soon. Did you know that? Yes, I did. Any birthday wishes for him? Dear Fly, happy birthday. Let's do our best. Fighting. And Roach, you want to add on to that? I mean, you were playing on his role. Happy birthday, Fly. You're really nice. You buy me always good food, delicious food. So I hope you spend awesome birthday on your birthday. And you're going to be facing up against LCK Telecom in your upcoming series. They are now in the 2nd place. They look really strong. The most important thing is not to make any mistakes and performing better than them. And Roach, I'm not sure which lane I'm going to play on that day, but no matter which lane I play, I'm going to make sure to outplay my opponent lane there. This will be the end of the MVP interview with Ruler and Roach, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
중계선 연결할게요.
Thank you, G-Sun. As always, we're done here, actually. 2-0 over to the side of Gen.G. Yes, Fly's birthday soon, but then gets replaced by Roach. And Peanut, it's his 4th year debut anniversary, and he does not pick up the MVP. So not a big fan of that, but, you know, it is what it is. Even Ruler was like, that was weird about those MVP votes. But, again, as I was saying, I don't know what the algorithm is in some of those guys' minds when they're voting for that. So very, very interesting MVP votes today.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just like a dice roll. And
hey,
then,
you know, it's 1 to 5. 6
right.
is you vote for the fans.
6 is you roll again. That's what ends up happening. So
Okay.
after today, the balance is maintained. So you can see there, Griffin, first place plus 19. Jenner Green Wings, last place minus 19. Just don't mess with that, Brendan. And everything else in the in-between.
We need the balance, as is the way of the world. There's balance in everything. 10-0 plus 19, 0-10 negative 19. As Gen.G, you know, they move up 1 spot, and you absolutely need to continue winning if you want to catch up to Afrika and the rest of the other guys. But tomorrow, LS, Lesnack, my good friend, you'll be joined by Atlas for what should be a day of some really nice matches, actually. Damwon up against SKT could be very competitive, in fact, now that Damwon is looking better. And Hanwha Life up against Afrika. Hanwha with a rough series up against Kingzone, but Afrika up on the rise means that should be a very competitive match as well. So definitely looking forward to watching that series as well.
Definitely agree that I am looking forward to it and seeing if SK Telecom can keep improving as the split continues. And will Afrika maintain the unorthodox attempts at strategy and whatnot? Will I get to see Karthus?
You never know. You never know. When is going to be that day where we actually get Karthus? Could be tomorrow, but we'll see you guys then. Thank you once again for watching. We love you. Good night.